Well, hi there! Today we're going to be talking about finding the equation of a line that goes through 2 points using the point-slope formula. Now, we actually reviewed this formula in a previous Auducation video on trying to find the equation of a line through a point with a given slope. And because of that, we're just going to go over the highlights here. You can see on your screen the point-slope formula. It's y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1, where m is the slope of the line and x1 comma y1 is the point that it passes through. The main thing we're going to want to remember is that the values of x1 and y1 in the point are opposite to the values we're going to be plugging into the equation right there. So for example, if your x1 and y1 are both positive in the point, you're going to put a minus sign with them in the equation, and vice versa, and all the combinations of those things. In this video, we're going to be focusing our attention on finding the equation of the line through 2 points. In every single one of these situations, we're going to first have to find the slope between the 2 points using the slope formula on the screen, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Once you have the slope, you can plug that in for m into your point slope formula, and then you can choose the coordinates from either one of your points as x1 comma y1. But we're going to stick to the ones that we defined as x1 and y1 when we plug into our formula. So, as they say, nothing to it but to do it. Let's go ahead and take a look at a couple example problems. The first example wants us to find the equation of the line through negative 4 comma 8 and 2 comma negative 2. To find the slope, we first need to define x1, y1, and x2, y2. I got my two x's right there. My smaller x is going to be my x1. That's just a personal preference. That means that the associated y is y1, which means the other 2 points are x2 comma y2. Now we plug into the slope formula here. We're going to get m is equal to, our y2 value is equal to negative 2. I'm going to put y1 in parentheses here. That was 8. And then in the bottom, x2 was equal to positive 2. And then I will put my x1 in parentheses, negative 4. The parentheses are going to help us avoid making a sign error. In the top, we could just get rid of them, but in the bottom, we see that we have 2 negatives in a row, so that becomes a plus. I do all my arithmetics, that gives me negative 10 over 6, which I can divide both the top and the bottom by 2 to simplify into negative 5 over 3. And now, folks, we got a slope. We got a couple of points here. We can plug in negative 5/3 for m into the point slope formula. So this is how it goes. We have y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Now we substitute. We see that we have an x1 and a y1 already defined for us, so we're going to replace those in our point slope equation. Since my y1 was positive 8, I'm going to make it negative 8 in the equation here. M stays the same at negative 5 over 3, and since I started with negative 4 in my point to go to the equation, I change it to plus. We'll distribute the negative 5/3 in the parentheses. This gives us negative 5/3 x and then minus 20 over 3. Multiply the whole number times the top and then divide by the bottom if you can. We'll add 8 to both sides. We're going to have to do a little bit of trickery here. You can do 8 times 3. That's going to give us 24. And then we take that number and we subtract our 20 there, and that's going to give us our new numerator. So this gives us a final answer of y is equal to negative 5/3 x plus 4 over 3. There we go. So not too bad. Sometimes we're going to have some fractions that we got to deal with, but we deal with them, right? Let's take a look at our next example. We want the equation of the line through negative 1 comma 1 and 3 comma 5. My smaller x this time is negative 1, so I'm going to go ahead and call that my x1, which means that positive 1 is my y1, and then the other coordinates are going to be x2 comma y2. You go on and take these bad boys and plug them into the slope formula. This is going to give us m is equal to, my y2 value, of course, was positive 5, and then in parentheses, my y1 was 1. My x2 value was 3, and then in parentheses, my x1 value was negative 1. This is going to help us avoid our sign errors. We get 5 minus 1 over 3 plus 1. 2 minuses is a plus. And then I end up getting 4 over 4, which is the same as positive 1. That's pretty nice for us. It's certainly going to make our arithmetic a lot easier here in just a second. The point slope formula again for you was y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. We're going to plug in m, x1, and y1 to our equation here, remembering to switch the sign from the point to the equation. So this gives us y minus 1 equals 1 times x plus 1. Distribute into your parentheses there, that's going to give us y minus 1 equals x plus 1. We could put 1x, but why bother? 1 times anything is itself. To get y by itself, we add 1 to both sides, and that gives us a final equation of y equals x plus 2. Well, alright there, folks, that's basically everything I gotta talk to you about today. To find the equation of a line that passes through 2 points, you gotta first find the slope, and then plug into the point slope formula to get into y equals mx plus b. Now, there's going to be plenty of situations where you're going to have to do some kind of fraction operation, so make sure that you brush up on your plussing and times with your fractions before you jump into this skill right here. Once you got that, the rest is pretty direct. Just keep practicing, and I promise you'll get it before too long. Alright, I got other obligations here, so I'll see you next time. Thanks for coming.